Sonic Shuffle, a random and holistic Sonic lore podcast. I am Devon, one of the students.
And I'm Morg, the other student.
And I'm Dan, the teacher. This week we talk about more of Sonic the Comic, aka Fleetway Sonic. It's pretty alright. It's pretty alright. There is one small bit of news. Recently, the Sonic Twitter had one of its little Twitter takeovers. That's a tradition that happens, I don't know if it's like I think it's like once a year, maybe every once in a while. I'm not exactly sure if there's a specific time frame for it, but there are these things where a bunch of the Sonic voice actors get together to, like, answer questions in character. This time around, it included Sonic, Tails, Shadow, Eggman, and Yacker.
Who?
Yacker is one of the Wisps. It was done to promote the recently released Sonic Colors Ultimate.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was pretty alright. There's some things mentioned in it. There was an Among Us bit. There was a bit where I don't remember. I don't know why I'm only referencing the Among Us bit, but I guess that's the most notable one.
Did anyone ask what Shadow has for breakfast?
I feel like that has been asked in the past, but I don't remember. The thing I do know is the answer to that potential question, which is that Shadow likes to eat raw coffee beans with a spoon. There was one where he...
God.
There was one where he talked...
Good.
One of the bits was he talked about meeting Black Doom, specifically like Doom's Eye, the one from Shadow the Hedgehog. They both ordered ginger ale at the same time. There was one about what the There was one from Axe Body Spray about what the characters smelled like, and Shadow smells like lavender, and Tails smells like mint because he likes to eat mints a lot.
Alright.
Yeah.
That's a way to get it.
There was one where, I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah! Eggman revealed he is incredibly wealthy, and he became rich because he made a very efficient bagel slicer when he was a kid, and made trillions off of it.
What the fuck?
Nice.
Sounds incredibly real and true.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the people... I see there was one from, like, Tyson Hess. There was one from Nabrock Rock, who is, like, this, like, very notable, dude who makes, Sonic models. I think mostly as fan art, but I'm thinking of Rafa Knight. Rafa Knight, I think, is the one who did official stuff. But... Or maybe they're the same person, I don't know. I don't think they are. Let's see. I guess that's it. Also, yeah, Sonic Colors Ultimate came out. It's alright. It's pretty decent. Oh! I didn't mention it last time, but there is this one very distinct mechanical change, which is, there are no more lives in this game. You now have infinite lives, and all of the extra life markers were replaced with these things called, I think they were called Tails tokens. I think I don't remember which one it was, but I think it's either A, used for currency, B, used as a thing to, like, just respawn from wherever you last died, or C, both. Yeah.
Huh.
They added, like, these Metal Sonic race fights, and the Jade Ghost Wisp, which is a new power-up that lets Sonic become intangible.
That was the one that I kept seeing. So there was a video of, like, people going through glitches in the game, and it seemed like the Jade one caused a decent amount. Obviously, like, that's probably when it first came out. It might be, like, better now, but I just think it's interesting. Yeah. It's, like, new power, but I'm gonna fucking make the camera glitch out all the time.
New camera, or new power-up, break the game.
So true.
Yeah. So, let's see, aside from that, I think those are the core things to talk about for news, so why don't we get right into it? Let's see, we read issues 24 through 28 over the course of, which were released over the course of April to, I believe, early June. Let's see. We start our new story,
1994.
The Sonic Terminator. Yeah, 94. Yeah. We start our new story, The Sonic Terminator. Apparently, we see, like, Sonic running, but, he gets hit by something, and then he basically breaks apart, but that's because he was a dummy built by, I can't remember this guy's name, the lackey dude, an Eggman.
The strange green man.
Yeah. We met him last time, but
Snively 2.0.
Yeah. What's the word I'm looking for? The convergent evolution of Snively.
Cooler
yeah.
Snively.
So, this is part of, Eggman's plan to terminate Sonic. We cut ahead to, I believe the next day. Robotnik's troops are making a raid on Emerald Hill Zone. It looks like they're, like, making people, like, get into this, like, big airship to get turned into robots. So Sonic fights against it.
I keep forgetting that Sonic's friends in these are just, like, wear regular clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not all of them. Like, Tails doesn't wear clothes.
Yeah.
And Sonic obviously doesn't wear clothes.
It is funny to me that...
Just like...
Oh, yeah?
But Porker Lewis, who... we get... more... Hang on. Sorry.
Need some water?
Don't die.
I'm good. Sorry. What was I saying? Porker Lewis is... we get more... we get more characterization for Porker Lewis this time.
Yes.
About being, like, kind of a smart guy coward.
Yeah. He's the team hacker. I am realizing now that both Porker Lewis and Johnny Lightfoot's jackets have, like, Sonic emblazoned on the back.
That's his name, Johnny Lightfoot.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the bunny's name for some
It
reason.
is funny to me because, like, it is, like, even these guys who are much more designed to fit in with Sonic and his friends, the fact that they're, like, fully clothed is great. Also, they're men.
They're just dudes.
They are dudes.
They're just guys. Yeah, I mean, Amy's the only girl.
Yeah. Like, there is this thing in Sonic character design where boys are nude, women are clothed, or girls are clothed, and not the case here. We've got some people we've got some dudes with clothes on.
And Sonic is just a weird nudist.
Yeah. So, the guy doing this raid is like this big, like, boar general guy named Truss. As the ship flies away, as the ship flies away with Sonic and his friends in tow, the ship is raided by the pirates from last time. They have a big...
I love these games.
Yeah. They're all like rat dudes except for Plunder, who is a non-discrepant entity, and his like lackey, who's a ghost.
He might be some kind of boar.
Yeah, he might be like some...
He's an orc.
He's basically an orc.
He does have some, like, he's an orc, but not green.
He's got a regular human skin instead of green skin, but otherwise his design is very orc. He's got these big tusks. So they have a big fight, like, off screen. And after the fight's done, Porker Lewis accidentally, like, reveals where the Chaos Emeralds are hidden, which is the North Cave on South Island. And with this news, Captain Plunder's crew just flees off to go get him.
That is an incredibly good bit. And to think, you only wanted to steal Sonic's treasures, which we have hidden here. Alright, bye!
Yeah.
Also, like, the fact that the emeralds are, like, nuclear, like, if they stay cool, they're less reactive. They're, like, treated very much as, like, nuclear reactors or nuclear weapons. Like, they even later talk about radiation giving Sonic the supersonic craziness. Yeah. And, like, the fact that if they're cooled down, they're, like, more stable and stuff like that. It's just, like, they're not magic, they're fucking radioactive here. But, like, they are kind of magic because they do...
Yeah, they are kind of magic since they apparently absorb evil.
Mm-hmm.
Right, they are magic, but, like, they're treated as radioactive.
Yeah, like, in a lot of Sonic stuff, they... Like, the emeralds do have, like, a lot of power, and, like, it's a common thing in a lot of Sonic stuff where a character has an emerald, and they use it to power a machine. But...
Yeah, like Tails.
Yeah. In Sonic the Comic, it seems like the emeralds have a lot more drawbacks, besides just being very powerful. Like, they make Sonic twisted, they've got evil in them because they're Chaos Emeralds, and stuff like that. Let's see, real quick, checking SU-24 for anything else. Nope, there's... I believe there is... No. Still continuing the stories from before, they finish the Shinobi story, I think. From last time. Eternal Champions is still going. There's a review for Barkley Shut Up and Jam. There's... Oh, this is just a silly little thing. There's this review, well, not a review, like a preview for an upcoming game called Cannon Fodder. But for whatever reason, they just used, like, a screenshot of Wolfenstein 3D. I looked this game up. Cannon Fodder is like this weird, UK exclusive RTS. Well, sort of like an RTS. It's got the shooter thing with like RTS elements to it. And like one of the big gimmicks is like all of the dudes you control are very generic dudes, but when you die, when they die, they get like a name and a gravestone, and like over the course of the game, the more you die, like this big graveyard gradually becomes populated with more and more dudes.
Ooh.
Yeah, it reminds me of this one like roguelike that also came out on the Sega Genesis where you could collect gold, but there wasn't like shops in there in the game. Basically, what the gold did was it was just like a score thing, and if you got enough, you would have like a more fancy grave when you died. I can't remember the exact name, but I know it's one of the ones that like Sega has ported to other stuff. It's on like the Genesis collections and whatnot. That game is called Fatal Labyrinth. Yeah, that's all that's really important about issue 24. So, hop ahead to issue 25. We get a little cover art showing off the new story that's in this issue based on Streets of Rage 2. As well as a reveal that there's going to be a series of stories about the Sonic backstory, the lore issues. So we get the Sonic Terminator Part 2. Captain Plunder and his pirates get to this like frozen cave in the north of South Island, which it's like the frozen zone, it's the ice level that does not exist in the game, but is here. Captain Plunder steals the emeralds. Like, Sonic and his friends fight against him, but, they ultimately lose when Captain Plunder, threatens to kill Tails, while grabbing him hostage.
So rude.
Come on, Tails.
They call him... Sonic calls him Pixel Brain.
Yeah.
Calls Tails Pixel Brain.
Yeah, it's this recurring...
Sonic is weirdly rude in this one.
Yeah. Sonic the Comic Sonic is very notable for being rude. Like, the joke of UK Sonic rude and all that.
Yeah.
I didn't know at first. I was like, before I had figured out that, like, it was more like Porker Lewis was more the tech guy, I was like, is he calling him Pixel Brain because of, like, tech stuff? But I'm like, no, he just says he has a tiny-ass brain.
Yeah,
Pixel size.
Yeah, I know in one of these issues someone, like, asks what does Pixel Brain mean. They don't really give a clear answer, just that it's an insult Sonic uses on Tails. It's supposed to, like, a thing about, like, Sonic, from what I understand, his actions aren't that, like, bizarre to, like, what a British kid in the 90s would read. Because, like, he's just he's rude, but there's supposed to be, like, this sort of understanding that it's not like he's just a jerk. He's just trying to, like, start... He's British and doing his cheeky bants.
Yeah, Pixel Brain, derogatory.
Mm-hmm.
Sonic is very, like, isn't he, like, American amongst a bunch of Brits? Because he's, like, the cool American.
Right. I think that might be true.
Or at least he was originally in the book that we read that was, like, pre-Sonic the Comic.
Right.
The Stay Sonic.
Yeah. That might be the case. Anyways, Sonic and Tails are able to, like, go after the ship. And we find out that it's not too much of an issue to deal with Captain Plunder, because the presence of the emeralds has absorbed the evil energy of all the pirates and turned them into peace-loving hippies.
Yeah, this rules, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they stay like this. I have a feeling they won't. Like, I have a feeling once the emeralds are gone, they'll just go back to normal or whatever. But I'm just like, the idea of pirate hippies is just like very fun.
Yeah, they just go around high as fuck.
Yeah,
Right.
getting absolutely zooted.
In this, it's kind of a joke of like, funny hippies are peaceful and let Sonic in.
Yeah. He says that all property...
we liked you more when you were mean.
Yeah. Sonic... yeah?
Oh, all I was just gonna say that the captain, is just like, no sweat, man. Like, all property is theft, right? They're yours.
He's
And
right.
I'm like, he's right,
He's
though. Right. And also, that would be a funny thing for a pirate being like, well, all property is theft, so I might as well just steal shit.
Yeah.
I'm saying, a leftist pirate.
This guy is an ally.
The radical leftist pirates. I'm down for it.
We love it.
As Sonic and Tails fly away with the emeralds in tow.
And Sonic hates it. He's like, that was shitty and I hate to see it. Sonic's
like fucking
a hater.
disgusting.
Disgusting.
Sonic's too straight edge for them, obviously.
Right. Sonic is straight edge through and through, and they have plenty of things on them.
Oh, yeah.
They're
straight edge for life.
Mm-hmm. But while they were away, the island gets, Emerald Hill Zone is getting attacked again, but this time by Metal Sonic, or as we soon find out, Metallics.
Metallics!
He actually has a name in this. Like, he calls himself Metallics the Metal Sonic.
Yeah.
And no one mistakes him as
Yeah,
Sonic.
that too.
They're just like, oh, he's just like this shitty metal robot guy that is as fast as Sonic, which is why he looks like Sonic, I guess.
Yeah, Metallics, also, Metallics just straight up talks, like, in most depictions of Metal Sonic usually make him, like, silent, or if he does get to talk, they, like, do something to him, like, transform him or alter him in some way, like turning into Metal Overlord or whatnot. But in this one, he can just talk, no problem.
Yeah, and he's chatty.
Yeah. Let's see. The Streets of Rage comic. I read it. It's about one of the characters from Streets of Rage 2 named Skates gets out of prison. He meets up with his anarchist friend Roach. His dad gets murdered or kidnapped or something by like a shadowy corporate crime syndicate. I'm sorry, it wasn't like a corporate crime syndicate. He gets kidnapped by the cops. Because the guy, Skate's dad is the one good cop, and they all want him dead.
Of course.
Because of this.
Of course.
Yes, of course.
And, yeah, he had, like, this, like, floppy disk full of just listing off all the crimes everyone in the police department has committed. There's this one-off line that's, like, implying that they just hire ex-convicts as police officers, which... Weird pull. It's a weird way to say ACAB, but I'm kind of...
Great.
It is some form of ACAB, I think.
Like, they do kind of do that in the fact that all cops are criminals.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. True.
Police unions kind of do that.
Yeah. The police union... There's only one bad union, and it's the police union.
True.
True.
Okay, and we start getting this other comic focused on Sonic called Sonic's World. I am reading...
In his world.
His world. Mm-hmm. I did, like, skim through some of this, and a bunch of this is straight up from Stay Sonic. And I wonder, like, I looked at some of these panels, I think they are from, like, this one very specific promotional comic that was, like, sold in... It was, like, it appeared in a bunch of kids' magazines, most famously, Disney Adventures. Like, it lifts a bunch of panels from there, or maybe they're redraws, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I was wondering some of this. I was like, I know, like, they reference the... Sorry. I know they reference the games, but, like, they do include, like, Porker Lewis specifically in them, because he, like, makes the Kintobor, like, computer. Is that the same one that's in the Sonic the Comics, though? Because he's not wearing clothes.
Huh. Yeah, I know, like, I know the Kintobor is in the comic. He's shown up before. Yeah. He's like this floating head hologram thing that's, like, in a computer.
Yeah, he's Zordon.
Yeah, he's basically Zordon. Let's see.
But yeah, it just makes me wonder, like, are they connected to the Sonic the Comic pages at all? Or are they their own thing?
Yeah, I think the original... Wait. The script is by Nigel Kitching. Well, I haven't mentioned Nigel Kitching so far.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, Nigel Kitching is, like, one of the main writers for Sonic the Comic. And he, like, plays a huge role in, like, the direction the comic goes over the years. He writes a whole bunch of stuff. He establishes a whole bunch of, like, lore unique to the comics. I think he's still around. And he's pretty cool. He also is the one who keeps Decapitac going, even after they stop doing, like, other Sega stories. Because that's his vehicle for telling jokes. He's pretty alright. The issue also features a graphic zone. We get some fun fan art from children. There's, like, a Trace here. There's Porker Lewis and Tails in Sega outfits with the Sega logo on them. I am noticing there is Cool Spot stuff both in this and, like, the questions. From what I can tell, Cool Spot wasn't really a mascot that was used in the UK, at least not super often, so instead of associating it with 7-Up, I guess, like, people would associate it with Sega.
Cool Spot.
Yeah, Cool Spot was, like, this mascot for 7-Up in the 90s. They took, like, the little red circle on the 7-Up logo and made him cool. He was the star of, like, I think 2 different platformers that from, like, the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. From what I know, they're very solid for what is essentially a big advertisement for 7-Up. Let's see. There's, like, a Girl Tales. Let's see. We get some more of the Wonder Boy story, which is... I don't know if they ever read another one after this, but it is... I do appreciate it conceptually, how it's a story about Wonder Boy going to, like, the ghost world. And in the ghost world, there's, like, these weird wizards called, like... I don't remember what they're called. They're like, poets and stuff. And there's also, like, just an army of ghost dinosaurs.
Yeah, that was the one that I, like, lightly scrolled past, and every time I saw it, I was like, this seems beyond me.
Someone asks why most of the letters seem to be from boys, and asks if they could answer more letters from girls. Mega Droid responds, I don't understand. We just get more letters. He calls himself a cyber sex symbol, which is weird.
Hate that!
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's basically it for this issue. So, issue 26. Starting off with the Sonic Terminator Part 3. We open with like Sonic and his friends hanging out in the base. He's playing a game based on the Marxio brothers, which he doesn't care about, because who wants to play a game about some electricians?
And we've met the Marxio brothers in a different
and they
comic
suck.
issue.
Yeah.
So they're just real guys that have a game about them.
like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Yeah.
Or 50 Cent Blood on the Sand, or what other celebrity games can I think of? Shit. That isn't. I don't know why I was gonna say the Home Improvement game. That's based on a TV show. That isn't literally Tim Allen. So Amy messages them, telling them she's been kidnapped at Never Lake. But Metal Sonic interrupts the broadcast. I'm sorry, Metallics. I'm gonna have to get used to it.
Metallics.
I know. Sonic just runs off there because there isn't like a star post for him to teleport to, and he finds the Miracle Planet that hangs over Never Lake. Has been turned into this weird industrial planetoid by Dr. Eggman or Robotnik.
This is just the plot of
Yeah, it's Sonic CD.
CD, yeah. I was like,
Yeah, this is
these next few issues are just Sonic CD, but with like Amy there in the background.
Yeah. Like, Amy's in Sonic CD, but she only really appears in game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She only really appears in game, like, a couple times. Metallic shows up to, fight Sonic. They fight for a bit. Let's see. Metal Sonic grabs Amy and pulls her off into the Miracle Planet, aka Little Planet. And that's it for this issue. There's a review for a game called Skitchin', which is a racing game where you're sketching on the back of a car. That's interesting.
Sketching.
Yeah. In the Sonic's World story, you see Sonic, how Sonic met Porker Lewis and Johnny Lightfoot, beat up some robots, and they were inside, and they helped them.
They used to be naked.
Yeah. They used to be naked.
Yeah.
So this
But
clothes
now
thing,
they wear clothes.
It is a new decision for them.
Mm-hmm. They discovered sin.
Sonic introduced them to sin.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Robotnik, it mentions that Dr. Robotnik actually doesn't remember before when he was Kintobor. He doesn't even remember Sonic from back then. He just... So, there is this underlying thing about Sonic wanting... I guess... that Sonic knows the origin story, but Robotnik doesn't.
You should just tell him to read the comic.
There's a little guy... Mm-hmm. There's a little guide to Sonic Chaos, which came out on the Game Gear and the Sega Master System.
The Game Gear always sounds like a fake system to me.
I was really, really surprised when I first heard about it, however many years ago, that Sega had a competitor handheld, and it was called the Game Gear. It sounds worse.
It just sounds bad.
From what I know about the Game Gear, it had like these two. From what I know, it was like more advanced than its competitor, the Game Boy. Like it had full colors and stuff like that, but also it had a way worse battery life. Like it only lasted like 4 hours, I think, 4 or 5 hours. The Master System is also just always funny to me. That Sega had this 8-bit console before they really got big with the Genesis / Mega Drive.
Yeah.
I heard that Lost Judgment, which is coming out next week as of this recording, the player character Yagami does get a Sega Master System, so
Good.
I am curious what games he'll be able to play on it. Apparently you can like buy and collect Master System games at places. I also know that the Master System was really big in Brazil. Brazil and the UK. Brazil, I don't know too much about it, but like, Sega was really big there because like, it was easier to get a hold of than like Nintendo stuff. Like, it was either cheaper or easier to pirate or both. That's it for that issue, so on to issue 27.
The issue where my brain melts.
This is where they introduce some stuff.
It's just a normal time travel
just
story.
kind of out of nowhere.
God.
Yeah,
just completely out of nowhere. Just the perfect way of doing it, obviously.
Yeah.
And also he shrinks.
Yeah, the shrinking is... It's really weird, but it is part of the game.
What the fuck?
I guess they introduced these elements to promote Sonic CD, which had time travel. It had like a gimmick in one level where Sonic could shrink down.
I do not remember any of this.
Oh. I don't remember that.
It was pretty...
I remember the time stuff. I don't remember the shrinking
down.
Yeah,
it's very... It shows up very briefly in like one stage, so it's pretty easy to miss. I think it is entirely possible to play through that stage and miss the shrinking stuff. So, Tails, Johnny Lightfoot, Porker Lewis, they get to Miracle Planet. They see what's going on, but they can't do anything because the Miracle Planet only shows up once a month, and then it like vanishes to like some other dimension. And Sonic and Amy are on it while it vanishes. Miracle Planet is, as seen before, what's the word I'm looking for? An industrial wasteland.
Yeah, it's just been turned into one shitty tech planet.
Thanks, Robotnik.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like Detroit, am I right?
Wow. You're right. It does look like Detroit.
Damn.
Yeah.
It looks probably like a lot of really sad cities.
Yeah.
To be fair. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, so... I remember what I was thinking it reminded me of. It reminds me of this one very specific lore thing in 40K where there's, like, Forge worlds that are just one planet big factory makes one thing for the entire space army. But anyways, Sonic and Metallix fight a bit. Metallix is doing pretty good until suddenly he gets hit by a spinning blue ball. In fact, it's Sonic, but smaller.
He's just
and he's
got
got
a time
rock.
stone. Here, have it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Hey kid, you want this?
He gives it to himself.
Yeah. He's like trying to remember what he said in like the original loop before. And while they're like talking this out, Sonic gets like shrunken down as part of the time travel rules, and Metallix reboots at 100%, and we are left on a cliffhanger until next issue. So, some other stuff. There is like a news thing revealing like in a couple months there's gonna be a Sega CD game based on Discworld. I am not familiar with the Sega CD version, but I know about this game. I think I've talked about it. For those of you who may or may not listen to Who Watches the Watch or the Discourse or whatnot, I've talked about it in the past. There was this very specific, like, 90s Discworld game. There was another one later, but this one was, like, it had this very art style that was, like, it looked like how British comics looked at the time. Like, comedy ones. And the plot was based on Guards, but instead of, like, being focused on, like, Vines and the City Watch, instead, Rincewind is the protagonist. I watched someone I follow on Twitch, play it, some while ago. I think maybe it's been like a year, maybe. I'm not sure. But one very distinct mechanical thing is Rincewind can only carry like 4 items at a time. But he also has the luggage following him around at all times, which can carry infinite things. So like part of like the puzzles involve like knowing which items you need to use in combination with each other. And also one of Rincewind's inventory slots is always taken up by his wallet because he doesn't trust the luggage to carry it. It seems like an alright game. Let's see. We get more stuff from Sonic's world. Sonic gets turned into, like, Super Sonic after collecting all the emeralds. He, like, flies off somewhere. Eventually comes to elsewhere. In, like, I think that it's like a swamp zone or something. As it turns out, if you have all the Chaos Emeralds in one place, they will go unstable. And how they manifested this time was turning them super.
Just making him go crazy, go stupid.
And like Morg said before, it is a direct result of the nuclear radiation that is in the emeralds. So
nuclear radiation in real life give you cancer. Nuclear radiation in Sonic World give you fucking maniac superpowers, I guess.
Or just absorbs all the evil out of your body.
Yeah, so that's something. Is this because he's more evil or less evil when he's lost his mind? Like, did he get, like, evil shot at him? Because the pirates got the evil sucked out of them instead. Like, they didn't get anything...
I wonder if it depends on, like, how evil you already are, or if it's like a specific thing because of like the whole experiment that went awry that turned Sonic blue and Robotnik Kintobor into Robotnik.
All I'm saying is if you want Kintobor back, just have him carry a Chaos Emerald in his pocket. Be like, this is my emotional support Chaos Emerald.
Yeah, I want...
But we can't let the evil Robotnik get the emeralds.
Yeah.
He'll do something evil with them.
Well, that's why you only get him 3. So, like, they don't really create two like Sonic, but also they absorb his nasty juice.
I wonder...
Yeah.
I wonder if you need all 6, though. I think the pirates had all 6.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe the pirates just got high. Maybe that has nothing to do with the emeralds.
Maybe it had nothing... Maybe they just cracked out, like, some LSD or weed or something.
Yeah, they, after getting the emeralds, they raided, like, a big old fucking weed farm or something, and they just toked up.
Yeah. So
true.
Sonic, after, like, cooling down from that, supersonic rampage, he's in the swampland zone, and he sees, a couple guys have fallen into the swamp, and he's trying to pull them out by their tails, but as it turns out, it's one person with 2 tails. It's Tails, aka Miles.
Ooh.
Then Kintobor explains, like, the basic stuff about the plot of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Like, he created the Death Egg, which is a, space station with, like, I think we've mentioned this before, it's a big egg with little eggs floating around.
Egg.
He had his, like, he's got his, like, mech suit, which they call battle armor. And after that, Sonic puts all the emeralds in the Arctic, or the frozen north, or the North Cave in, like, the frozen zone, so that they stay cold and remain stable, and stay away from Robotnik.
Until the pirates
take them.
Until that pig just mentions that they're there.
It says at the end that they'll do another series of issues on Sonic's World in issue 32. So maybe that'll happen, maybe it won't. We get some speed lines. The speed lines, someone writes a poem. One person drew Sonic with, one of the guys from ZZ Top.
Very good.
Yeah. And there have been various hints up to this point of a very strange comic coming in the next issue, issue 28. They reveal there's going to be a story called Pirate STC.
Pirate STC.
So, I've mentioned this once in a past, like, UK issue, or episode. There was, like, this weird ad campaign around this time called Pirate STC, or Sega Pirate TV. Where it was like these commercials where it looks like some goofy, boring commercial, and then it turns into this weird skeleton man and his friend, who's like a dude in some earlier Sega commercials from the time. And I don't know. It was like it was showing how cool Sega stuff was, and also weird TV stuff. So, Sonic Terminator Part 5. Sonic goes into the past with the time zone.
Gotta get back.
Return to the past
back to
now.
the past. Sonic, Jack. No, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
It looks nice and like nature filled.
And Sonic also finds this weird machine that's just all nasty and polluted. And it's like digging into the ground, so I guess in the over the course of time, this would have like turned into the vast industrial wasteland that Mystery Planet became. So Sonic goes in. He finds the time zone in it, or time stone. Sorry, pulls it out, goes out. The machine breaks, and now he has to go He has to go back to the present to deal with this. What happens is like it's like 2 pages of like the panels from last issue, except they're from this other. They're from Sonic's. They're from the perspective of the Sonic that has traveled through time.
So we learn in this that the Sonic world operates on the closed time loop theory. No matter if you travel through time, everything remains the same because you already did it.
Yeah.
Except kind of does change. Like, yeah. It's always interesting to see how, like, media handles time travel, because, closed loop and open loop and all that stuff.
So,
branching timelines, shit like that.
Yeah, because Sonic did what he did. By destroying the machine, the planet is restored to its previous state, and
It like never got robotic in the first place. But it's kind of weird because at first it's like, oh, Sonic is like, oh, I did everything right. And like what Devon was saying, it seemed like a closed loop thing. But then it just like, next page, it's like suddenly it's fine.
Yeah. Sonic grows back to normal size because he never got shrunk. And I don't understand this part, but Metallics was never built. So they cease to exist.
It seems that apparently Robotnik built Metallics on the planet.
Yeah. I guess. I think maybe?
That's what must have been. Yeah, that's my only thought of what it could have been.
Yeah. The story ends with Amy pointing out that because Miracle Planet isn't going to show up back on Mobius for a whole month, they're just gonna spend a month together.
Can we like talk about the fact that Amy knows and remembers Metallics though, even though she did not do any sort of time traveling herself?
This is why it's a closed loop. Mm-hmm. Because why would? Because my only thing is like, he must have just had to wait until he went back in time to fix it for everything to fix, but the stuff before still happened. Like they're still on the planet because of Metallics.
Yeah.
I don't know. Time travel's weird.
So that's it for that story. Mm-hmm.
So true.
The reviews include like a review for Dune 2, The Battle for Arrakis. It was like this Dune RTS. I've heard about it. I've heard it's pretty alright. There's one for The Lost Vikings, which was a very early Blizzard game. It was like this puzzle platformer. You played as 3 Vikings, each one had their own unique ability. You had to use them in tandem to get around. There's a preview for a Bomberman game. Coming to the Mega Drive. Let's see. there's a preview for Sparkster, the sequel to Rocket Knight Adventures. There's also the sequel to Echo, Dynamite Heady, and Snatcher. Snatcher is the one that just grabbed my attention because Snatcher was this game. It originally was like on the PC-88, later came to Sega CD, that Hideo Kojima worked on after making the original Metal Gear, but before starting on the Metal Gear Solid series. It's a fun little Blade Runner style game. I've never experienced the whole thing, but I've always appreciated it from a distance. And then we get a new story featuring Tails called The Morbidden Hunt. Tails ends up in the Nameless Zone again. And he's being sent to deal with, goblins.
I don't fucking remember the last Nameless Zone.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, we went over it super quickly.
Yeah.
And it's been months since the last...
It's pretty short, too.
Yeah. Goblins came in, they stole some kids. They went to Castle Morbidden. Tails is desperately trying to explain that he is not the true hero. Sonic is, but they won't listen to him. These foxes believe he is the hero, and so he must become the hero.
Tails, have more faith in yourself.
There's this goblin queen named Queen Vulpiculia? It's Vulpiculia Hunter, aka Fox Hunter. And we leave off on a cliffhanger where I think this is a hippogriff, tries to, eat Tails. But we won't see that until next time we talk about UK Sonic, because that's it for today. There's some more fan art of Sonic on a variety of football teams. I don't know. I couldn't really identify most of these teams. I think they're probably just the teams local to whichever kid drew them.
Yeah, I don't know anything about.
We get the Sega Pirate TV, which is very concerning to look at.
Yeah, it isn't great.
Yeah. And finally, in the speed lines, there's some questions. There's one a kid just talks about how when he plays Paperboy 2, when the dog shows up in that game, his dog starts barking. And there's another one asking the following. Dear STC, I am disappointed Sonic's feet, minus sneakers, are never shown. Therefore, could you please get one of your artists to draw in Sonic's bare feet in a future story? And Megadroid just calls him out on this. So when did you first realize you had a foot fetish, Kevin?
Yeah, bold of Kevin to write in and be like, hey, can we get some Sonic feet?
What if Sonic took...
I didn't read the question, so I...
I'm just surprised that Megadroid caught on so easily.
Yeah, good for him for being like, bro, I ain't doing that.
Also, there's some art of a Frankenstein Sonic and Tails in a ghost costume. At first I thought maybe this was for an October issue, but no, this is June. Maybe these kids drew these things in October and they finally published them at around this time. Oh, one other thing. I believe at this point in the comics history, it is officially 1 year old.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday,
Happy
Sonic.
birthday.
Happy birthday, Sonic. Alright. So, that wraps it up. So, let's read some asks from our own listeners. If you want to send in
any questions about feet?
If you want to send in a question, you can either respond to one of our Ask posts on Twitter, or you can send in a question anytime at your leisure in the Ask Zone on our Twitter, or on our Discord, sorry. So, we have one Twitter question, and see you, Space NDN, at Flourishcaster. I talked with them last night in the HKIP Discord voice channel. They said they wanted to, like, send me a question because of this one, and they sent it. If Sonic was a comic stand-up comedian, what would his style be? What would the name of his Netflix special be?
God. It would be a lot of rapid
Sonic?
fire jokes. Like, it would have to be, right? Like, even though his style isn't necessarily rapid fire in, like, the stuff we've seen of him, he just does, like, dumb quips and stuff. No. I feel like if he was doing, like, actual stand-up, he would have to, like, I don't know, just go really fast.
Also, he's relentlessly heckling the audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, he is just roasting them constantly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know enough about, like, stand-up specials to name it, though.
I know of the sort of joke of, like, how Netflix specials are named. So it would have to be Sonic the Hedgehog, : one word past tense.
Ran. Sonic ran.
Sonic the Hedgehog, what's the word I'm looking for? Sped off. Rushed. Sonic the Hedgehog, : rushed.
Sonic the Hedgehog playing for Rush.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm saying.
Let's see. When you read the comics, what kind of voice do you imagine the pirate and Metallics having? Well, Captain Plunder definitely, like, big, tough orc voice with a pirate accent to it. Sort of like this one pirate dude who was in Dawn of War 2. It was like an orc pirate, I can't remember his name, but it was like, "Yarr, killing and fighting is what we orcs do best," and stuff like that.
But how do you imagine his nice voice? Because he's a hippie now.
Yeah. Let's see, in the hippie voice... I don't know.
Because I was imagining it still being, like, deep and scary, but it just kind of being like, "Yeah, man, go ahead and take him." Like, just trying to be scary, but, like, not really doing it because he's high as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. Metallics, though. I'm not sure what Metallics sounds like. I just did think of a way he could sound, which is, Jaleel White Sonic put through, like, a digitizer. But, there's... Oh! I know what he sounds like. How he sounded in my head, anyways. It was like... there's this one specific, very robotic voice that comes to mind that's kind of yelly. I remember now. It's like how Omega sounds in Sonic Heroes, but not other stuff. Okay, the one I was imagining for Metal Sonic is more yelly. It's like, I can't do it. I can't do the voice. Partly because that voice is supposed to be digitized.
Gotta bring your robot Dan in here.
I have to figure out how to get that voice changing program I used to use back up and running. But yeah, I think that's it. Let's see. We did get some Discord questions. We got 3. James the Cat Girl asks, how fast could Sonic click on cookies and Cookie Clicker? Sonic's got some crazy ATM.
He might break the computer doing it.
Yeah, it would be absurd.
He might click too hard and fuck the mouse up. He also wouldn't want to get he would feel like getting all the upgrades and stuff. I haven't played in a long time, so I don't know exactly the upgrades they have now, but that makes it easier to do clickers stuff. He probably wouldn't want to do that. He'd be like, no, it's cheating. I gotta do it myself.
Yeah, he would get...
I gotta click for all of them.
He would get to absurd numbers of cookies without any of the upgrades. He would just be
yeah, if he doesn't break the computer, he would be absurdly high.
Yeah. Let's see. Sidmon asks, what's your fave time travel story? I feel like I know this one, but I can't think of it.
I feel like this is a spoiler for my favorite. Okay, right. If anyone hasn't listened or read the VN Higurashi, ignore that I just said that.
Okay.
I knew that was part of it, even though I just started, so no worries.
I shall give no more details than that.
Right.
Yeah. I have a feeling I'm gonna like that one a lot. Maybe it'll become my top one, but I'm still pretty early. I'm not really sure. The only time... I don't even know if it's any good. The only time travel story I can think of at that moment is... Well, 2. I can think of Homestuck, which I haven't actually read that much of, to be completely honest. And then Donnie Darko? I have no idea if that movie holds up, but if it does, then I remember liking it a lot when I watched it the first time and thought the time travel stuff... It was confusing the first time, but then I looked up all the background time travel stuff and I was like, this stuff's cool. So maybe that, I guess, because I'm sure there are things more recently that I've seen that have time travel in them, but I'm just completely blanking.
Yeah. Oh, I'm looking at a list of my favorite games, and now that I'm looking at it, it's got to be Ghost Trick.
Oh, I've never played that.
Yeah, in Ghost Trick, the whole thing is, you can travel back in time 4 minutes before, someone dies, and you have to, do puzzle stuff to prevent their death.
Ooh.
Ghost Trick.
Yeah. There's some pretty crazy time travel in that, but, the detail in which I can/should go into it would get into spoiler territory, so I will avoid it.
Is it called Ghost Trick or Ghost or Trick?
Ghost Trick.
Not on Steam.
Yeah, it only came out on the DS and iOS.
Gotcha.
But it is a really good game. One of the best I've ever played.
Wow.
In my list of personal rankings, it is number 7, directly below Hypnospace Outlaw and above Mother 3. Alright. There was one last question from Kitty Cat Herder. How would you use time travel to stop your metal doppelganger? And I guess I would do a less complicated way of what Sonic did, which is prevent him from being built.
Yeah, that's probably the thing that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Or, like, maybe I would do it where I would, like, put something in their head so that they could be my friend.
Yeah.
Just
in the future.
Change, like, the coding on...
Upload the nice program.
Yeah, tweak the coding, so... Yeah. That would be pretty efficient, actually. Probably more efficient than mine.
I mean, either way.
So... that's all our questions. So let's roll for next week. That's a 5. I believe 5 is a... Oh, that's right. 5 is Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Let's go. Speaking of Sonic feet.
Yeah. I do actually have to
thrilled.
go... So, the first issue, or the first episode we'll be covering of that is actually between the 2 episodes we talked before, because I skipped over it. But then looking back, I realized it's got a really important Sonic Says, which features characters smoking, and why smoking is bad. So we have to watch that.
We gotta talk about that.
There's you can see Tails holding a cigarette. It's great.
Who gave this small
Tails,
child weed?
no! I just assumed it was like a...
No, it's
tobacco.
Gave him that
Tails
sticky.
Right. Yeah. So, until then, let's do some closing stuff. I'm Dan. You can find me at a lot of places, and you can find all those places at linktr.ee/big_challenges. From there, you can find my Twitter at biggerchallenge. You can find my other podcasts, which include Pod of Greed, a Yu-Gi-Oh podcast, where halfway through season 2 of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I think we're about somewhere around the 3/4 area, or 2/3 or thereabouts. We're making progress. Due to scheduling issues, I don't know if we're recording this week. I think we might just not be. But there will be a recording next week featuring Elliot and Audrey. Elliot showing up for the first time in like
Elliot
a year.
returns home from the war.
Shit!
Tragically, it's only a brief correspondence. He and Audrey are... Audrey's visiting Elliot in New Mexico, and they're gonna sort of, like, record locally. And then it'll later be uploaded to the feed.
Oh my god.
You can listen to... You can listen to Stranger's Fiction, an actual play podcast focused on one-shots. The first episode is up. We haven't recorded the next, but hopefully soon, we'll be talking about, we'll be recording more episodes on Mythologic, a story about 3 demigods, in modern times. You can listen to Video Games, the Movie, the Podcast, a monthly video game movie review podcast I do with my friend Maxie. This month we'll be talking about Mortal Kombat. More on that later. And, I already have planned what we're going to be talking about in October, as well as who's going to guest. More on that as it comes out. And last but not least, you can visit at Xbox_holiday, where Usher celebrates holidays with Xbox. I mentioned the whole chunk of holidays that are happening in rapid succession in September. So just gonna mention whatever comes out on whatever's closest to the 25th, which is, it turns out, is Celebrate Bisexuality Day. On the 23rd.
Nice. I'm finally being celebrated.
Yeah.
Celebrate Morg Day.
And yeah, it's a day just for bisexuals.
Celebrate
like
Dan and Morg Day.
So true.
No one else is allowed to go outside.
So true.
COVID restrictions are lifted, but only for Morg.
Wait. Well, I do have to go to work because I work in healthcare, so...
Holds up a little card that says, I'm bisexual, I can do what I want.
So true.
And... I think that's it from... Oh! I am working on another limited run podcast. It's been a bit delayed. There's been some communication issues, but more on that when it comes out. Morg, where can we find you?
You can find me at Haunting the Morg on Twitter. That's Haunting the MORG. It's finally the season where it makes more sense to have Haunting the Morg as my Twitter handle, since it's fall. You can also listen to my podcast, Departure Lounge, a plane-based Hunter x Hunter watching podcast, where I go through it for the first time and my 2 co-pilots help me through it. Yeah, I'm hoping maybe it'll come back someday. Anyway, Devon, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at GroovinGhastly, and you can also find me on a Hunter x Hunter podcast called Going Well Hunting. We're steadily working through it. Shit's getting real. That's all I gotta say.
Alright.
And you can find that Going Well Hunting on Twitter. I forgot to mention that. That's it.
Alright. And we are the Sonic Shuffle. You can find us on Twitter at ShuffleSonic. You can find us on Discord, linked in the Twitter and every episode description. You can find us on Noisepace.xyz. Noisepace.xyz is a podcast incubator run by Canadians, hence the Z, and there are loads and loads of different shows on it. This week's week alphabetical shout-out is for Special Grade Snacks with Sarah and Kay. I haven't listened to it, but Kay and Sarah are 2 snacks on the hunt for snacks, and only the special grade ones are in Jujutsu Kaisen. It's a Jujutsu Kaisen rewatch. Rewatch? I don't know if it's based on the anime or the manga or what. But
it's a watch along.
Yeah. You can watch it along to Jujutsu Kaisen. I haven't listened to it, but I know it's good.
It's really good.
I mean,
I'm familiar with Sarah. I'm familiar with Kay. They're good at podcasts. You should listen to it. Yeah, it looks like they've finished covering season 1. They'll probably come back. It says they'll come back when there's a Jujutsu Kaisen movie. I think it's gonna come out at some point. I'm not sure. And you can also, no, that's it. Yeah. Oh, wait, shit. I did it again. Real quick correction on next week's episode. Next week's another fan zone week, actually.
Oh, yeah!
Oh!
So we'll talk about...
Fuck.
It's great that I've forgotten this again, and it was also for another Sonic cartoon. But next week, you can hear us read... We'll be going through, and I decided this in advance, Ghosts of the Future. We'll be reading a couple issues of that. Ghosts of the Future is a fan comic by Evan Stanley, who now works on the IDW comics.
Good.
Oh, hell yeah. I love when that shit happens.
Yeah. From what I recall, Ghosts of the Future is focused on Silver the Hedgehog many years in the future after Sonic and his friends have passed away. And Shadow is out doing his own thing. It focuses on Silver the Hedgehog. Sonic is like a ghost. I remember it being pretty good, so we'll probably read through that when I don't know how many issues, but that's an issue for later. There are 17 fully published issues, by the way. Okay. Let's do the closer. Sonic is real, he is strong, and he is my friend.
He is the only blue life that matters.
And we can say that honestly this week.
So true.
Good night, everyone.
So true.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.